Welcome to Not the 9 to 5,
the podcast for freelancers
by freelancers.
Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out,
join us as we share insights, tips and stories
to help you thrive in the world of independent work.
I'm Kat.
And I'm Francesca.
We are two freelancers exploring the highs, lows
and everything in between. So grab your coffee, kick back,
and let's dive into another episode of Not the 9 to 5.
Katheryn Siggers.
Francesca Marago.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah.
Back for another episode.
I know. Isn't it exciting?
Yeah. And we've got someone really cool today with us, special guest Pilar Orti. So a little bit about her. She's always had what's called a portfolio career, although it could also be described as eclectic.
Ooh.
So she's an actor, she's a voice artist, theatre company owner, corporate trainer in team building and leadership, and she also has a science degree.
A woman of many talents.
Yeah, a jack of all trades. She's currently finishing her side projects after deciding life's too short. This includes 2 books and a podcast with her friend Tim.
Well, there we have it. Welcome, Pilar.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me. Hello, listeners.
Thanks for being here. So we'll just dive straight in. Do you want to go for it?
Yeah, absolutely. So in your own words, kind of tell us what you do, how you started your freelance career.
So what I do now, not a lot of what you said. That's all in my past life, which I think is important for me also to remember that I'm not doing all that anymore. And at the moment, as you said, I'm just writing and just waiting to see how that eventually can evolve in something that has an income. But I'm enjoying going to do lots of exercise classes. I'm enjoying taking life at a slower pace. And I'm just experimenting to see and notice what makes me happy at the moment. And then I have the luxury that I can wait a little bit until I have to start worrying about how the income comes in. And I think it's a luxury. And now how I got into freelancing, I think I've always been a freelancer. Someone asked me this question the other day, and as you said, I did a science degree, then I trained at drama school, and then that was it. I went into being a freelancer as an actor, as a voiceover artist. I learned to teach. I did have some part-time work, which was, for me, part-time and freelancing, if the part-time is only a few hours a week, for me, that's freelancing. And if you have the luxury of being able to say at one point, okay, I'm done. So quite a bit of part-time work as well. But so in essence, I don't think I've been full-time employed ever. Maybe I'm just not cut out for it, actually. So yeah.
Oh, amazing.
Was freelancing something that that you consciously did, or it just sort of happened for you?
Well, when I left drama school, it was okay. I want to be an actor, act as a freelancer, unless you're extremely able to go on someone's payroll. So that was it. I knew there was a PAYE thing that I could be. I knew I could be on people's payrolls, but the thing is, I've been a freelancer, but I've also been a business owner, entrepreneur, whatever. That I know. I didn't think about it, but I've always liked to drive my own work and create my own work with the people I wanted to work with. Right. So for me, freelance, self-employed, business owner, it's always gone together.
Got you. Nice.
That makes sense.
That's really cool. So you're like multi-hyphenate. You do lots of different things, not just the one.
Yes, and even when so I used to run a theatre company a long time ago. It was a small theatre company, but we did run it for 10 years, and I did that. I did everything. Not on my own, but that was the joy of it. It was a place that I could act. It was a place that I eventually directed. It was a place where I could write, and I did a lot of translation and adaptation of class. I like to mess around with things. I like to mess around with the classics and mess around with translation specifically. Yeah. And I learned to teach also theatre acting through the theatre company. I learned to teach others. I learned to mentor. I learned to produce. I learned to administrate. So, and that's why I did it. It's because, I like doing everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's what we say. We do so many different things, and it's like we enjoy so many different things within the creative industry. It's like really hard to just pick one thing to do.
Yeah.
With sort of the acting side of things and you training at Mountview, how did you go about kind of going to drama school with all the other avenues that you're interested in? Was acting always the thing that you wanted to do?
Yeah, it was. So I directed my first play when I was 7. I'm very proud of it.
Oh my gosh.
And it's something that, like, when I've met my school peers like 30 years down the line or something, and when I used to be in the theater, they're like, yeah, of course, because I love to, again, I love to get people together to create something.
Yeah.
So I went to a British school in Spain, and so I'd never done any drama. I mean, forget about drama O levels. That's what I did. Forget about drama O levels. A levels that we could pick one out of, and we had like a choice of 8 subjects to pick from, and they were all academic. So I wanted to act, but this thought of acting as a profession, was like, nah, no way. Also, I might not like it. So I did the more traditional thing. Again, when we were still in the EU, I did the science degree. And there I was part of the Dramatic Society. And I just thought, I've got to give this a try or else. Yeah. So that's how I then found out that you could go to drama school. I'd never even thought of that before.
And with the science degree, what made you do that from the creative industry and then going into a science degree?
Well, the science, all my academic life was science. So,
right.
All the A levels, everything, all the theater was done in the, when we had the breaks, in the breaks at school, get the friends together, then convince the teachers to allow us to take some time off to do the show. Yeah. But I love science. I mean, if I would have loved to study medicine, but I didn't want to be a doctor. I just wanted to know how we operate. Right. And the closest thing was biology, which is what I did. So again, it's pure curiosity. And again, thinking, well, what shall I do afterwards? I don't know, but I want to learn this. Yes.
That's so cool.
Has your science degree, and your interest in biology, ever influenced any work you've created?
Not directly, but it did give me that insight into how we are as human beings, physiologically more than psychologically. So it supported the work I was doing as a producer. And the way in which it was doing that it was a very academic degree, of course. So I learned how to present papers, how to write our reports, the dissertation and everything. And then when I got to having to create the funding applications, for example, I was very comfortable because I knew what it was. I knew that there was a structure to things and then you just fill it in. So that helped a lot. And then something else interesting it's got nothing to do with the science, but it has to do with that particular university. It actually created quite a big network of people who then came in quite handy along the way during both the theatre company, the corporate training company, both as peers I could talk to about things, but also as clients. So that was, it was... Yeah, well done me for that one. That one was a good thing to do.
Oh, wow.
Go to Imperial,
cool. Yeah. And sort of going through all of those different career paths and freelance ventures, did you ever hit a roadblock? Did you ever go through any struggles with this, kind of defining, I guess, the path that you want to take in it? Did you encounter any struggles?
So interestingly, at the beginning, I could do everything. And at one point, I did look at exactly the time period you're describing, which is probably 15 years ago now. And I was in the company, I was in the corporate, I was also teaching. I was also freelancing 4 days or 5 days a month for Turner Classic Movies doing associate production. So I was just learning how to put together the continuity. Again, just fell into that. And at one point, I realized that it was all diverse and dispersed, but actually it all made sense together for me, just to be doing that. So that was okay. The problems have started almost over the last 2 or 3 years when I've wanted to do loads of things because of the access through technology. And maybe we can even go 5 or 6 years before. And my only existential struggle, I'll call it that, I'll take that struggle to share with you, was only a few weeks ago when I realized, what do I do? I've spent like I call it a sabbatical year, just playing with what shall I do? Let me try things. And then went, okay, what if I want to work? Like, what if I want to do more freelancing, or what if I want to do 2 days a week somewhere? And I'm unemployable now, because everything I want to do, because I've got all these interests, I don't have the experience in a lot of things. Right. And also a lot of the things I was looking at, I was thinking, no, I don't want to do that anymore, or I don't want to do that. So it took me all about 2 weeks to decide, look, I'm just going to try to write and I'll carry on. But it was the first time that I didn't know where to go.
Yeah.
Until, so I've always known the interests. I want to act. Okay, I'm doing the theatre company now. Okay, voiceover is great. Voiceover has been my one constant career. Voiceover, that's great. Yes. Okay, now I want to do a bit more corporate. Okay, I want to stop with the theatre, do the corporate. Okay, and lately it's been like, okay, I want to write, but is that something I should be doing? So, yeah.
What sort of things do you want to write?
So I'm writing a couple of things. So I'm, again, lots of different things. I'm trying to concentrate now on 2 things. One is I'm writing a cozy mystery. Mm-hmm. And for listeners who might not be familiar with the genre, it is mysteries, but they are in effect cozy, as in there's no lots of blood, there's no horrible things happening. They're very like Murder, She Wrote, or Agatha Christie, Agatha Racine. Small communities. There's usually an amateur sleuth, so that butts in, like Jessica Fletcher. And because it's my second attempt at a novel, but hopefully it'll be my first finished one. I've placed it in a voiceover studio in London, because I know that so well. I thought, why make my life difficult? Just get that setting. So I'm writing that. That is the fiction, and learning a lot. Because do either of you write or have written fiction, or tried to write fiction?
I write. I mean, I'm like you. I've written so much, but I've never actually completed anything. So
yes. So what I don't know if you found this, but what I found is that I've always supposedly been a good writer, and what that meant was that I knew how to write something that had very few spelling mistakes and really good grammar. And when you're writing fiction, that doesn't matter what you need. There's so much the theory. Yeah, you're nodding.
Yeah.
So
it's all the description, isn't it, of the fiction? Like, you've really got to paint the picture for the audience, because that's all they've got. And you're right, the grammar doesn't matter quite so much, because it's all about how you're allowing the audience to experience what you're trying to write.
Exactly. And it's a real skill. And then all the polishing comes later. But that's the part that actually, at least I wasn't taught in school.
Yeah.
I was taught to do the grammar, the spelling, and that's about it. I was never shown how to really tell a story. So I'm learning that. It's great fun. And then I'm writing a book that covers my view of the world of remote work, because that has been my specialism since 2016. Was how to help organizations, how to help individuals work remotely. More than individuals, managers of remote teams was my specialty. So it's very interesting how that world has changed since 2016, obviously. And I've come to a point where I just want to say a lot of things, but I want to say them in a book format. So it's a kind of memoir aspect, but of course it's got things you can learn about the different aspects of remote work. So I'm working with that at the moment as well. Yeah, that's
really cool. I love that you're doing 2 very different things.
Yes, because I need to. In a way, it's easier to do both because they're so different. Like I couldn't write 2 fiction things at the same time, but here it's okay. It uses a very different part of my brain, I think. Yeah,
it's a good escapism, isn't it? To have you need a break. Lots of writers say I need a few months break from this to kind of decompose. But in a way, if you're writing one thing that's so different to the other, you're kind of having that break naturally. Between the 2. It's quite nice. That's really cool. So in terms of, I guess you touched a little bit upon it, but what's the best part of the job for you? What is the thing that kind of gets you up every morning and wants you to continue exploring all these realms?
Well, at the moment, it's just fun. And I work on the novel in the mornings as well. So that means it's the first thing I do. And sometimes it does feel like I'm reading a novel rather than writing it.
Okay.
So that's really fun. At the same time, at the moment, my days are, they're quiet, as in there's not. So let me just go back with everything, the way it's been working up to now. A lot of my work for me was quite stressful, as in it required delivering and delivering a workshop or delivering a presentation or whatever. So that, as much fun as it is, as you know, it is, you know, at least for me, the preparation is still stressful. So what I'm really enjoying now is having the time to go through my day. And to go and do a class, either in the day or the evening, it doesn't matter, and go for my walk without worrying at what time I have to be back and that I have to prep for this. And also that if the novel is going well in the morning, then I can have a few more hours on it. Or if my afternoon, if I feel really heavy and sluggish, I can just wait a few hours and then pick up the work later. So I think that I am really enjoying that. Yeah, for me, it's new. So I'm really enjoying that. And that is kind of what, I mean, I don't have a problem getting up in the morning, as in, I'm happy. So I'm very happy to get up for whatever. But that feeling now, that's what I'm really enjoying.
Just taking life at a slower pace.
Yeah. And also, you know, things like, when was it? Well, things like when you go at a slower pace and you go out into the street, for example, and you go shopping and you're not rushing and somebody needs help. One, you see it. The other day, I spotted a blind lady, for example, that was around, I live around Hammersmith. She was just around Hammersmith and she was fine. She had her stick, but then at some point she just stopped. And I just asked her, I just had a bit of shopping, but I was in no rush. And I just asked her, are you going somewhere? Is there anything I can do? And she said, yeah, I need to go to Lidl. And I said, okay, well, shall I take you? Oh, really? Can you? It's like, yeah, I've got time. And just the ability to stop and do something because you've got time. And I've had this a lot of times, for example, on holiday, someone dropped their keys and we went out of our way to find a person on the beach and all of that. You do that when you've got time. And so I have to say, I'm not a great one for all. I want to help people, but just noticing that having time means that you can, I don't know,
be present.
Be more present, do things slower. And it's a luxury. So I'm really enjoying it. Yeah.
It sounds like you're noticing the world around you more as well. Like rather than just being like, okay, I have to go here, and then I need to be there for that thing. You know, you're actually just taking time to notice actually what everything that's around you. That's amazing. I love that.
It's a pleasure.
I wish I could do that.
Don't worry, you will.
I guess that's like the power of freelancing, though.
Yeah.
Because you pick your own
schedule.
You schedule your day the way you want it to be. I mean, sometimes you don't have always that luxury depending on the client, but like a lot of the time you can be like, look, I want to keep my mornings free so that I can go on those walks or I can meet my friends or have me time before I get cracking with whatever I need to do. And I think that's the positives of freelancing. Definitely. That I think we don't talk about enough, do we? Where it's always a struggle, but it isn't. It's actually a nice uplifting thing to do because you have the power.
You do have the power. Definitely.
Or even, as you're saying, even if you can't schedule your days, but at some point maybe you realize that if you can take a break from work for a month, for example, just to make sure you recharge or for whatever reason, I think that you're right, that finding and listening to what you need as well and being able to, if you're lucky, be able to act on it. I think you're right. That is luxury. Yeah, that's good.
And you say now that you have this sort of year that you're kind of re-exploring yourself. And you kind of have savings. So what did you do before you entered this period of time?
So I was consulting with virtual teams. So I was providing training for organizations, mainly for remote teams. that, yes, I was delivering training. I did little bits of consultancy. So sometimes on my own, sometimes with peers.
What sort of training? When you say training, what do you mean specifically?
So management training, as in, it mainly consisted of sessions, live sessions, where I presented a little bit of content, then got people in groups to do some exercises. Usually there was a discussion. So it was mainly about helping people see how they could be better managers in a remote environment. And
Right.
it was, it's a lot of fun, but yes,
And
but not anymore.
And was that a 9 to 5, or was that like a freelancer kind of employment?
No, that was with my own company. So yes. So everything is. So I set up the consultancy, this one around. So the way it happened is I was with a theatre company a very, very long time ago, just to segue into that the second part of my life. And I went to a conference where I think it was then the artistic director of Trestle. Do you know Trestle Theatre Company?
Yeah,
Some listeners, so they were around then, and he showed us that the work they were doing with corporates, the presentation skills type of work and everything, and this was all using their masks and everything, and I looked at it and I went, ooh, I think I like to have a look at that, and so I started to see how that would work. And I started to use some of what we used in rehearsal to help with team building, team away days. I did a few presentation skills things, but that's not, I didn't find that interesting. Then I went into leadership training. So taking, again, some of the exercises we do to train in theatre, using those as metaphors. So get the groups to do that and then to link the learnings from that exercise to what was happening in the team, for example. Yeah. Again, I learned that by doing it. Again, I didn't go and join a company that was doing it already. I just made it up as I went along. And I had a lot of fun with that. And then I met my husband in Holland. Oh. And my father was diagnosed with Parkinson's. So I thought, okay, how on earth am I going to make this work when it's such a co-located business? Mm-hmm. And also the internet wasn't as strong then. Mm. How am I going to make this work? And listening out, I started to look for work online. So I found some work online and marking assignments and assessments for people who were doing management training. I knew enough by then. I think I did some academic stuff around it as well. And and then I started to see what was going on, and I realized that actually this whole thing about virtual teams was getting stronger. Technology was becoming much more affordable, much more accessible, and I ended up moving towards that to say, okay, let's really niche it down. So let's do leaders of remote teams, and again, delivering sessions sometimes. A bit of consultancy, working with the business owners a little bit. Yeah.
I suppose your acting background probably really helped you in this, right? Kind of being that performer and navigating that back into the corporate training is a great transferable skill, you know, like as freelancers, you learn so many different skills. So I guess that helped you in a way, didn't it? Like, I suppose.
Well, it helps with things like this. It's very easy. Well, to be honest, once I know what I'm saying, because that's the difference between, for me, performing and being able to hold an audience. Once I knew what I was saying, then I have no problem standing in front of a group and talking. The problems have come when I wasn't behind what I wanted to say, or I didn't know what I was saying. Then my training didn't quite support me with that. But yeah, that was there. The podcasting, I do a lot of podcasting, and in fact, that's how I got some clients, and I really built my network in that space through the podcast, because there weren't many podcasts then, and there were very few podcasts about remote work. So, but it was no problem for me to get behind a microphone and talk.
Yeah, because you've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So tell us, how did you then, so you started the business, you started the corporate training business. How did you land your first client?
Going back to contacts. So even before the first client came the most important things, I think, when you're when you're discovering something, when you're building something, and especially experimenting and seeing, does this work? Does this not work? Can I do this? It was the experimenting was the most important part for me. And there I had one friend from Imperial, so one friend from university who was in an organization, and she brought me in. In fact, no, she was my first paid client. Okay, let me go back. So I know what it was. The trustee of the theatre company, one of the trustees, she knew someone who was running a charity. Right. And they were thinking of doing some team building activities. So they were my first guinea pigs, gave me lots of good feedback. I also invited a bunch of people from my very diverse network. So maybe someone from the acting world, but maybe also some people who are working in organizations, a barrister, all kinds of accountant, all kinds of strange people. Well, not strange people, diverse professions, strange to me. And we played with that. And again, I tested some things. And then when I was eventually like, okay, now I'm ready to charge something, then it was a friend of mine who had been, I think she'd come to one of the testing things. So she knew what I was doing. And yeah, she brought me in, I met her boss, and I did their first away day. And once I did that, then I could say, oh, I've worked for these guys. And they were like, oh, okay. And then very slowly, to be honest, it was never like a super successful business, but with the voiceover ticking alongside it, mm-hmm. and the bits and pieces, and that it was worth doing. It was worth definitely. Yeah. And also I think once, I don't know, because running a small theatre company, you never have enough, well, I never had enough money to have good budgets to do things really, really well. Wow. You're always bootstrapping it. And so it was really nice to be able to deliver something that got a fee good enough to then be able to have some proper marketing, have some proper photos, So that was really nice as well.
Amazing. I mean, I guess you said like it wasn't that successful, but I feel like that everything has a reason, everything there is success out of everything that you do in a way. You met all these great people and built so many more connections, and I guess that then connects you with now later on in life when you're doing the podcast and talking about the remote working and all of that. So
it's led you to the book that you're writing now.
It's all life experience, isn't it, that we say. Love that. So that's cool.
Yes.
So what's one piece of advice that you would give to freelancers thinking about going into freelancing? Or let me rephrase that. What's one piece of advice you'd give to people thinking about going into freelancing?
Oh, thinking about going into freelancing. Yeah. Wow, that's a whole different thing. I'll tell you what's coming to mind, which is I've seen quite a few people trying freelancing and then finding out it's not for them. Mm-hmm. And I think it's when you have something that you do really, really well and that you also enjoy doing, just knowing that that's not going to be enough. So I think the mindset is, I know that's not going to be enough. Am I okay with that or not? If you are okay, then go for it and try it. I think even if you're not okay with it, try it. So anyone about thinking going freelancing, try and do something that really gives you a taste of it, however that looks for you. I think that you can think about it for a very long time. You can read about it, see how other people are doing it. But until you're there, you just don't know whether it's for you. So I think that would be my piece of advice, is find I don't know, I'm a bit risk adverse actually, which is risk averse, which is ironic. So find whatever makes you more comfortable and then see if you can experiment with it through that. That would be one piece of advice.
That's good advice.
Great advice.
Yeah, definitely. And okay, well, before we end the podcast chat, we wanted to do a little would you rather game with you. Would you rather live on a peaceful tropical island or a bustling big city?
Oh, the bustling big city.
Oh.
Would you rather have to start a new job every year until you retire, or only have one job for your entire career?
Oh, I'll start one job every year. Although that also fills me with dread, though. I need 3 years to settle into something. This is something I've learned. So I'd go for the 1 year, but I'd try to negotiate with fate to see whether it could be 3. Yes.
Why 3?
I've noticed this, that I think, so it I don't know, I think it probably like, it takes me about a year to understand what's going on and who I am in that place or whatever. Then I suppose it takes a second year to, I don't know, assimilate or whatever it is. And then I suppose in the third year, maybe then I'm comfortable enough that I can really feel like, okay, I'm really there. But it's just something I've noticed. Yeah.
Cool.
Don't know.
There you go.
It's a slow process. I wish it were fast, but it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, 3 years.
Would you rather spend your money traveling the world but have few personal possessions, or have a really amazing house but never leave your hometown?
Oh, do I have to choose? Okay. I would choose the amazing house and never leave my hometown.
Okay.
But because I don't like traveling.
Oh
No.
Yeah. This is why I do remote work, so I can work with people all over the world. I've been in London since I was 18, so I was brought up in Madrid all my life as an adult, as a young person, until 18 in Madrid. Then I've been in London since 1990, so I haven't moved. There was a time when it looked like I might move to Amsterdam, and I would have very happily done that. It's a wonderful city, but my husband came over. So, but I still live in the same place as I lived in 1998. We have a 1-bedroom flat. And when my husband came over for just a year and he had to empty his house because it was a social housing house, we had to empty that house, and then he came back. When we came back and there was nothing in the house, just the essentials, that was really nice as well. It was like, what do we need? We need a laptop. Well, we do. Other people need other things, but we need a laptop and some nice clothes and a comfortable sofa, and that's it.
So, not a bed.
So,
just a
oh yeah, well, no, bed is also good. Yes, just the practical. So yes, I rather than have to travel the world, I would prefer to stay in one place. I do go to Spain as well. I have a base there as well, but just because it's So
nice.
Oh.
That's different.
very different. Yeah.
I'm compromising all the questions. I'm really sorry.
Would you rather have to wear all black every day for the rest of your life, or have to mix every colour of the rainbow into your outfit every day?
I think I'll go for black for that.
Yes. No, I didn't expect that.
No, I didn't either, because you're very colourful today.
Yeah, but this is because I'm in front of you, you see. This is me making an effort.
Well, we appreciate it very much. You look lovely.
I love it.
So yeah, I think black. Yeah.
Would you rather be able to talk with animals or speak every language?
I was going to say talk with animals, and then you said speak every language.
No, it's so hard.
I think I'm going to go with talk with animals.
Oh, okay. Like Dr. Dolittle.
Yeah, that's it.
Love that.
Would you rather always be 1 hour late or 1 hour early to everything?
1 hour early. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's the sensible option, isn't it, really?
Yeah,
All the stress. Yes.
Actually.
All right.
Who would want to be late, though?
Some people like to be late. They like to make an entrance. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like me.
Yeah.
Would you rather be covered head to toe in tattoos or have one big face tattoo? It's hard.
Okay. So either, you see how much I know about either all the body or just one in my face. I think
Just
the body.
one on the face.
Body.
Yeah, the body. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Would you rather have to speak in rhyme for the rest of your life or speak in riddles for the rest of your life?
Rhyme.
Okay.
Solid choice.
Yes.
Would you rather have more time or more money?
More time. Yeah.
And would you rather be a freelancer or PAYE?
I don't even have a choice with this one. I've got to be a freelancer. Yeah, but free. I don't think I could do it also now. Yeah, so I have freelancer.
Yeah.
All the way.
Once you go, you don't turn back.
No, that's it.
So we'd love to
very
follow
brave.
your onward journey, and I'm sure our listeners would as well. So where can we find you on socials?
I think the best place is LinkedIn, because I think that's the only place I'm really much in there at the moment. But you can listen to the 21st Century Work-Life podcast or to Management Cafe.
Cool.
And maybe Adventures in Podcasting, but that one's been neglected. So I think podcasting is probably a better place to find me current. Yeah.
Amazing.
Okay, great.
Wicked.
Well, we'll link everything in the show notes so people can find you. But thank you so much for coming on and speaking with us today, Pilar. It's been amazing to hear all your insights.
Yeah, it's been a really nice, fresh perspective on lots of other things that people can do in the freelance world.
Definitely.
And it's never too late. So thank you.
Never too late. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening to Not the 9 to 5 podcast. If you liked this episode, we would love for you to subscribe to our channel, where we release weekly podcasts every Monday.
Comment below to let us know who you'd like to see next on our podcast.
Give this video a thumbs up and maybe share it with a freelance friend or two.
Until next week, everyone,
Keep freelancing.